Harvey's Dark Mild.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. Firstly, I apologise for the fried egg sound coming from that laptop. It's processing a file at the moment and I don't want to stop it because it's going to take fucking ages and I'll be here all night if I do that, so it ain't going to happen. So you're just going to have to put up the fried egg. Alright? Secondly, I've got to tell you about last night. I went to a pub called the Flower Pot in Maidstone and they had Budvar on draft, and the landlord there, he drinks that and he makes a big point of getting the best Budvar from the Czech Republic to serve in his pub. And I'll tell you what, it was outstanding. It's the B original Budvar that they serve there, and obviously it's nothing like the bottle at all. The bottle is green, so you're always going to get a very slightly skunky flavour from the bottled Budvar if it's not been covered up or protected from the light. That stuff is obviously in a keg, and honestly I had about 5 pints of it last night and it was absolutely gorgeous. I really cannot overstate how good this was. It was fan-fucking-tastic. So if you're in the Kent area and you've got a chance to go to Maidstone at all, check out the Flower Pot pub. It is probably the best place you'll get Budvar. Certainly the best place I've tasted Budvar on draft, and I've tasted it in a few places. A few places in London used to do it, but this was absolutely fucking sublime. It really was good. And they have a nice selection of ales there as well. It's a proper real ale pub, so get yourself on down there and check it out if you can in these tough times. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of COVID nonsense going on at the moment and you have to go through all the hoops of putting on a fucking mask and signing in and, you know, the usual caper. Honestly, it's pure fucking theatre, the whole lot. Anyway, I've got some of this stuff. It's the Harvey's Dark Mild. Now, I got this the other day from the bottle shop in Staplehurst, which is in Kent, little bottle shop there, and I haven't seen this in a long time. I've seen it on draft actually. There used to be a Harvey's pub near me that sold it. Never went for it. Really regret doing that, but I've got a bottle of it now to try. Quick potted history of mild. Mild ale originates from the beginnings of beer production in the United Kingdom, or England as it was then. It was the opposite to aged or mature beer. If you look at my history of India Pale Ale, you'll get more information on this type of beer. It was basically the only beer that was available, and the maturing or the fermentation wasn't done in the brewery. It was done by the landlord, and he would sell either older matured beer, which was called stale, or you'd get the young beer, which was basically the mild, and obviously that hadn't been fermented much, quite low ABV. The mature stuff was obviously higher ABV because it had time to ferment. So that's where it comes from. But the stuff you get here, or the stuff I've got here, I should say, it doesn't really have much in common with that at all. The stuff that we drink now as mild is probably originates from the 1930s. That type of beer was what mild was, and it was basically low gravity, low ABV beer, usually dark in colour, although it could be pale, all depending. And it was quite big. In fact, after World War II, it made up 75% of the sales of beer in Britain. That's how popular it was. But it fell out of favour in the 70s. And there's a reason it fell out of favour, and it's quite a shocking one. Now, people of a certain age will probably remember this, but you younger lot won't remember this. But what you'd get back then, you'd have your drip trays where you'd be pouring your beer, and you know, you'd get a mixture of different beers that would just be in this big tray. And what they do, they pour that into the mild to make up their, or to boost their profits, if you like. And you'd get, this would be a nightly thing. You'd get people working in pubs, and they'd just be tipping all these slops, and it would be a mixture of bitter, it would be a mixture of lager, it would be a mixture of all kinds of stuff, stout, and they just throw it in, and you can imagine what that would taste like. And they were throwing it into the mild because the mild was the easiest one that you could get away with doing this. And quite frankly, not only is it fucking dishonest, it's fucking disgusting as well. And that's why mild fell out of favour. So if you're looking for a reason that mild isn't as popular as it used to be, you can thank the landlords of the 60s and the 70s for just getting there, being greedy bastards and getting the slops and throwing it into the mild. It's disgusting, it really is. And there used to be an old saying, when I was a kid, my old man used to say it, and all his mates, and it was basically, don't take the piss out of Chariton's beer because it won't taste the same. And that was basically, you know, they would say the beer was watered down. It wasn't watered down, it was quite difficult to water beer down, but you could do a lot with a mild in terms of, you know, throwing slops in, etc. It's fucking disgusting, it really is. And I'm glad to say, I'm almost certain that doesn't happen now, because I think beer drinkers are more discerning, and you know, they wouldn't stand for that. And it's dishonest. And if a landlord got caught doing that, not only is he a prat, but he'd lose his licence as well. So there you go. Probably go to prison for fraud as well. Hopefully so. Anyway, enough about that. Harvey's, you know them. They're from Sussex. Look at, if you want a history of the brewery, I've gone on a bit now. You just want to hear what the beer's like. If you want a history of Harvey's brewery, they're quite an old brewery. But look at the other Harvey's beers I reviewed. You'll get the history on there. All right. So let's investigate this dark mild. Right, it's 330ml bottle. It's 2.8%, and I think it's 3% on cask as well. And that is about it, really. What does it say on the side? Dark mild accounted for 75% of beer produced during the decade following the Second World War, and was a mainstay of a generation in the public bar. Yeah, workmen would drink that mild. You know, you wouldn't get too pissed on it. It was a low ABV, so you know, at lunchtime you could drink it. Wasn't too heavy, and of course, if you wanted a few beers after work, you could have a few, and you'd still be able to get up the next day. What does it say? Generation soft, slightly sweet, with a dry aftertaste akin to an infusion of ground nuts. It's refreshing, hydrating, and comforting. Liquid bread in every sense. Blah blah blah. We won't be druv. That is their motto. Basically means no one's going to tell us what to do. So I have no brew sheet. I cannot tell you the hops or the malt that is in there, so we're just going to have to go on the taste. Let's get this beer opened and into the glass. Cap is plain white with a date on it. Nothing to see there. Let's see what we're getting in the glass. Now, I've reviewed quite a few milds in it. The best that I've tried so far was the Thwaites. That was a really nice Thwaites Dark mild. That was a really nice mild. And there was a couple of others as well. And I think the Hook Norton mild, that was quite nice. In fact, that probably was one of the better ones that I tried. What's this like? Wow, I'm not getting any aroma from there at all. Let me just try again. Oh, fucking hell. The vaguest, let me just see if I can get a bit more in here. There's the vaguest hint of fruit on that and nothing else, and it's so weak. Can't get anything, hardly anything at all. And I've been doing this, I don't know whether I'm getting COVID or not, because I've had a few beers lately with very little aroma. That's a little bit worrying. But you lose your sense of taste as well. And at least I haven't started listening to rap or soul. Anyway. Not a lot. Let's get it down the hatch. Cheers. That is very nondescript and a little disappointing. Firstly, the thing that I notice is the body is very thin. There's hardly any flavour in that at all. Please don't say I'm losing my sense of taste as well. This is starting to worry me now. I'm getting vague sort of caramel malt, but it really doesn't taste of much at all. I'm struggling here. I'm getting vague roasted malt on this, but I'm really having to strain to get any type of flavour from this at all. Can't get anything. That really is disappointing. I don't know whether this is a rogue batch or whether it's just bad beer, but now I've just looked at the date on this and it's got September 2022, so I'm hoping that's not September the 22nd, otherwise that is fucking well and truly out of date, as it's the middle of October now. But I just can't get anything. There is nothing. Description is soft and slightly sweet with a dry, nutty aftertaste. I'm not getting any of that nutty. No. I'm not getting any of the description that they've given on that bottle. I've tried, I'm giving it a chance, but it's just not happening. I'll give it one last go. No, does not taste of anything. That is really disappointing. I was really looking forward to this. And that's what's given. Fuck all. So what's the verdict on Harvey's Daft Mild? What's the verdict on Harvey's Dark Mild? None of them flavours are apparent in this beer. It says malty and mellow, so fucking mellow that you can't taste nothing. Soft and slightly sweet. No. With a dry nutty aftertaste. No. Fuck all. There is vague cross between biscuit and caramel malt, and I'm really having to struggle to get that. And that's about it. No aftertaste. Nothing. It's like fizzy liquid in your mouth, and that's it. Really, really fucking disappointing. Now, I love mild. I really do like mild. And I think it's a beer that should come back into fashion. But Harvey's, if you're going to put shit like this out, no one's going to get it. No one's going to fucking buy this for starters. Well, apart from mugs like me. But this will be the last time. If I see it on draft, there's a couple of Harvey's pubs near me. Now, if I go in there and they got mild, I'll try it. I'll try a little snifter. And if it's like that, they can get to fuck, because that is a waste of time drinking. It certainly looks the part. The flavour is massively disappointing. I'm going to give it 2 out of 10. I'm not going to recommend it. If you like the taste of nothing, then fucking go for it, but nah, not for me. I like a little bit more flavour in my beer. So that's 2 out of 10. Not recommended. And remember, I'm drinking that shit, so you don't have to.